Well, let's take a look at what is happening in the markets, and we start off with the JSE. Of course, trading has been choppy, but we did see the local bourse eking out modest gains there, of course, in China. Of course, a market that does influence the local market. Investors are awaiting the press briefing by a number of authorities tomorrow, including the housing minister. So the all share up by more than 0.5%. Those gains largely being led by the resources 10 complex, and particularly the gold counters there, climbing almost 3%. Industrial 25 with a slight gain of almost 0.1%, and the financial 15 bucking that trend there with a loss of almost 0.1% today. Let's take a look at what is happening stateside. And of course, the U.S. earnings season is coming in hot, and we have been digesting mostly the big bank earnings today. We did have Morgan Stanley topping, being the latest bank to top analyst estimates, with investors there propping up the stock. We are seeing a mixed picture, but largely green on that front. The tech-heavy Nasdaq relatively in a flat territory, just 0.02% below that flat line. The S&P 500 with a gain of more than 0.1%, and the Dow climbing more than 0.4%. Let's check in on what is happening with markets across the Atlantic, and on that front we have a focus, the big spotlight on the luxury stocks. That's after LVMH disappointed with its results and posted a drop in its sales in the third quarter. Of course, seeing that stock slumping there by about 4%. The FTSE 100 being the only bourse there in green territory, up 1%. The CAC 40 declining almost 0.4%, and a loss on the DAX of 0.1%. Let's take a look at the currency scene and start off with how the rand is doing against some of the major currencies. Relatively flat against the US dollar, but a little bit of weakness at 17 Rand 63. I think yesterday it was at 17 Rand 60. Against the pound at 22 Rand 93, and against the euro at 19 Rand 18. Let's take a look at what is happening with the other currency pairs, starting off with the euro dollar at 1.09, pound dollar at 1.3, and the yen just getting weaker against that US dollar, now below 150 against the currency.